Alright gang, welcome back to our Island Preservation Challenge here on Ronida Island, and as you can clearly tell, it is time to harvest this field, what used to be one of the largest fields we have. Now it's just a normal sized field in comparison to some of the other ones, but nonetheless, it is time for us to harvest this one today. This is really the only thing we have to do today is this specific field, so ideally I'd like to go ahead and get it harvested all the way up to completion, get it plowed up, prepped, and all that good stuff ready to go. Honestly, for reseeding today, if possible. So we're gonna go for that approach today. Other than that, that's the main basic objective we have to do today. The other objective that I want to try to accomplish, what I've been talking about for a long time, is buying plot 66 here. We have enough money to do it, and then putting down a sawmill and beginning the process of starting to make some of the lumber, some of the planks, etc. that we require for the house, right? So that's going to be kind of the second tier goal that we want to accomplish today. I think we'll have plenty of time to do so, but obviously this is the first and foremost thing I want to get done. I want to have this field harvested, I want to have this field re-drilled, and ready to go before we begin the house stuff. So how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. Things are overall good, as good as they can be, I guess. Work has been crazy yet again. I thought things were going to start calming down here for a little bit. It seemed like things were going to be okay, and then they just Thursday, so I'm recording this on Saturday morning. Thursday, they decided to let go two of the longest tenured individuals at the company. So they've been there, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years longer than me, maybe 3 or 4 years longer than me, I don't know, something like that. So back to being a little nervous again. I don't really know what's going to happen here, no idea what's going on. So but at least for now, I'm still here, so I guess we will find out. But yeah, wasn't expecting that. They said they weren't planning on making any changes at all, and then 30 days later, they get rid of two of the longest tenured individuals at the company. So I'm sure it's probably all a cost savings and probably a restructure type of thing. I mean, obviously those individuals were in management, right? So I'm sure that really is probably where the bulk of that comes from. Technically, I'm in management too. So who knows what's going to happen to me, but yeah, I guess we'll figure that out, like I said, and we'll kind of continue on here. But, you know, I like to let you know what's going on, and that's what's been going on. So yeah, anyway, we are cruising along this so quickly. This is crazy. Now, before I forget, I'm going to stop right up here. Before I forget, I said I was going to do something with the manual harvesters, or the manual balers, I guess, for the cotton, right? We have some cotton that's in these manual cotton balers here. And, you know, I said I wanted to try to get one bale out of each of these, right? So I want to, you know, do the best I can to stop it as soon as it hits 100%. And then that way we can actually sell these and not waste anything. Now, I understand it's 42 liters of cotton. It's not like it's going to all of a sudden make us millionaires or anything like that. I know. But I want to sell these, but I don't want to waste any of the cotton that's in here, if that makes sense, right? So for me, I'm going to do this just to try to accomplish that. And then that way I can get rid of these, and that opens up some more space in that shed right there near us. So, but how's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Things are good, man. Things are good. Besides everything I just mentioned, they're good. Things are good. I screwed it up. I thought I was going to stop it perfectly. That's 2 liters. I'm not going to worry about 2 liters. Honestly, 2 liters is whatever. We wasted 2 liters of cotton here. Whoop-de-doo. So I'm going to put this kind of over here, because my plan is eventually at some point here soon is to take this back up to the shop. Of course, the only way I'm going to do that is when we're going to go buy something or we need to get something from the shop. This one is only going to need a few liters, and it's done. So this will be a few seconds. Now, we're not going to make any money off of these when we sell them. I mean, we could just kind of hold on to them if we really wanted to, but I'm going to sell them because there's really no reason to keep them either, right? We've got this machine now. There's really not a reason at all that I can justify even considering it. Okay, looks like we need one more. There it goes. All right, close it down and move on over here. Perfect. Now I'm going to move those bales by hand out of the way really quick, just so we can make sure that we don't run into them and push them all over the place. Just, you know, get them moved around and out of there. We still have some sorghum and things over here. I think our chickens are okay. The cows are fine for the time being. The chickens are fine for the time being. The sheep are fine for the time being. So yeah, everything's fine right now. Just put that there. I'm going to put it into Grandma's knitwear here in just a second. I just want to make sure I don't lose sight of where the other one is. I've already lost sight of it. Where's it at? There it is. Perfect. Alright, so we'll throw that in there. And we'll throw this in there as well. We'll take a peek at Grandma's knitwear as well right now. I'm not sure if we need them all on right now. Eventually we will today, of course, but... we'll turn that on. Yeah, there's still wool going through there. This one is out of cotton, though. But we got a decent amount that's there, but now that we're gonna get these going here, we're gonna have a lot more incoming here very, very soon, which is good for us. So we've got wool over there as well to pick up today and bring over to Grandma's knitwear. So we're really trying to amp up that that productivity there for the grannies, right? In there knitting away. A couple things really quick, not specifically about this specific series, but the Brewer series. In the last episode, I had a bit of an issue. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Me just not even thinking or even, you know, utilizing my brain, I guess, in this instance, that winter wheat is not the same thing as regular wheat for the mod. So the brewery mod, it failed. I can't put winter wheat into that brewery. I thought I would be able to do it. Cannot do it. So that's a bit of a disappointment, but you know, it's fine. We'll reset and fix it. But yeah, I was just assumed the mod would accept winter wheat versus regular wheat, but it doesn't. So ran into that issue yesterday. So if you want to see me suffer for a minute, check out that episode. And the Triple Threat Challenge is going well, right? We're actually really getting close now to the point where we can actually get the oil mill that we require. I did take a tiny bit of a step back, but by the end of the episode, spoiler if you haven't watched it yet, but by the end of the episode, I did get us back to kind of where we started. So we're just basically delaying where we were for by a month, because I wanted to make an upgrade to a used tractor that was out there in the market. So probably won't need to go any higher than the one we have now, the one we just upgraded to, but it had a little more horsepower, and since we've got some pretty severe hills, some of the machinery that we use, some of the equipment that we use, I guess, it struggles a little bit to get up the hill, especially when we're baling, things like that. So I just thought it was, overall, from a time standpoint and just progression standpoint, it was in our best interest to make that upgrade, so I did it. This series, no specific plans here to do any kind of further upgrades right now. We've got a lot of other things on the docket, on the plate, I guess is how I should put it, that are maybe a little bit more important right now, in my opinion. Used market. There is a nice Massey Ferguson out here. I would love to have it. We just don't really have the money for it right now. We could sell some clothes, sell some other things, and probably get there. Yeah, 100% we probably could. But again, I don't think we need it right now. I think what we have is probably sufficient for the time being. Although I'd love to have it, I don't think it's really going to make that big of an impact right now, I guess is how I will put it, right? So, it probably is only a 2 headland pass here. It probably might even be a 1 headland pass here, but I'm going to do a 3rd one up here, and then we'll start doing our more traditional up and downs that you're used to seeing. Sheep. The way the sheep are, specifically. My goal, honestly, is to do a bit of a modification yet again here. It's obviously not going to happen anytime soon, but I think I'm going to do another modification, and the way I'm going to modify that is this. I'm going to extend this cotton field right here, this coastal cotton field, our first coastal cotton field here, and I'm going to kind of take it, and I think, well, eventually we're going to remove this and move the sheep elsewhere. They're fine here. I like them here. I know we moved them here a while ago. We said that was the plan, is to kind of leave them there. Honestly, I think we can go larger. So I want to get some more sheep coming. So my goal is kind of to move the sheep eventually. And then obviously buy this plot here. And then I'm going to take this field and kind of expand it straight into here. That means this field here, the knife field, is going to kind of partially go away because we're just going to kind of take this line and go straight here until wherever the dead end is, right? So this is going to be a large field, but we're going to kind of extend that and shrink this field a bit. But that's okay, right? We might even change this field away from a cotton field since we're going to make this field so much larger, and kind of go with that approach. And then over here on the side of the hill, like we talked about before, my plan is eventually, it's going to be a while, is still to do a bit of a vineyard, right? A bit of a vineyard there on the side of the hill. I really like that idea, and so we're going to do that. So all of that is to come. We're obviously a little ways away from being at that point, but all of that is to come here soon enough. Really, you know, that's not going to happen specifically until the knife field, as we're calling it right now, is ready to harvest. Obviously, this field's going to have something in the ground, but when the knife field's ready to harvest, I think that's the point when I will probably, well, we'll have enough money, we should have enough money at least, to buy another plot of land, the one specifically behind us there. And then we can at least prep that area for this one, right? We can obviously we could put some cotton in there right then and there if we want to and separate it into 2 fields, but eventually the goal was to make it all 1 field. But at that point, we'll cut off the little handle there of the knife and just turn that into a bit of a regular field over there. And then that will probably just be another field we put something in that is not, you know, cotton or whatever, right? It's some other crop we'll probably put in over there. That's at least the plan. That's the goal for right now. Plans can change. They always do. I've mentioned that. I change my thoughts, my ideas a lot. So they definitely can change. They likely will. But that's the plan right now, at least, is to move the sheep. Now, you might be asking, where are you going to move the sheep to? It's a great question. That I haven't fully figured out yet, to be fair. It's something I'm still working on. I've considered putting them over, you know, in the main yard area, but I think we're going to kind of go pretty heavy on some greenhouses here soon. Obviously, I've already mentioned, you know, the goals today, more specifically, are to, you know, get the sawmill up and running. But, you know, that is definitely going to be a goal very, very soon for us, is to get the greenhouses up and going. Now, to be fair, once today is done, this field will probably be ready to harvest next month. But that's really it. Don't think we'll have anything else after that for a little while. Of course, worst time to put a save up, but of course. But I don't think we'll have anything. I think these fields are still going to be a little ways away even after next month, and probably be 1 more month, maybe 2 on some of those. So we won't have a whole lot to do then anyway, right? So my goal at that point really is to start focusing on those greenhouses and a few other things, right, that we just talked about. So obviously continuing the approach there with the, you know, the sawmill and all that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So, you know, just trying to strategically place things where, you know, we'll do some of the things that new stuff, bigger things like, you know, the sawmill and the greenhouses and things that are going to take a little bit longer than you might anticipate them to take. We'll kind of save that for, you know, episodes when we have a little less going on, right? We're just kind of in a waiting period for a lot of the stuff, unless we, of course, expand with a new field, right? So that's at least the initial thought, the initial goal, the initial plan that I have here as we move forward. And I think that's really going to help us. When April, May comes around, when it's time to sell all this cotton, and realistically, we should have $500,000-$700,000 of cotton we're going to be selling. Like, it's going to be astronomical, which is going to be a great thing because, 1, we can buy a ton of that land that we know we need to buy. 2, we can probably upgrade a few other things as well, a few other pieces of equipment that we probably should consider doing at some point in the future, right? Bigger drills, more specifically. I think that's really the next major thing we need to consider, are bigger drills. I think everything else, for the most part, is fine. I think the only thing really that we should consider is the bigger drill approach. Obviously, we've got to get a manure spreader. We've got to get a bigger slurry spreader, and eventually at some point, we're not really making enough yet to really justify a bigger slurry spreader, in my opinion. You know, but soon enough, those are things that are definitely going to need to be done with that big money we make here in April, May, right? If not sooner. But yeah, that's kind of where we're standing at now. As far as the cotton or the clothes go right now, I mean, I don't really think it's worth even considering it right now. Yeah, it's the lowest it possibly can be right now. And you can see that's a pretty severe drop-off. It's $11,000 to $19,000, right? That's a huge drop-off. So it's not something I'm even willing to consider selling right now anyway. So it's in our best interest, honestly, to not sell any of the clothes until it's the best time to sell them. It really is. We'll just make so much more money by waiting. Now, it looks like we have a chance here to actually get a legitimate bale off this field, which we have yet to do with this new cotton harvester here, right? We are 94%. We might be just short. And when I say legitimate bale, we were able to spawn out a bale before, but that bale we spawned out was not a full bale, right? I'm saying we might actually have a chance here to get a full bale off of this field here. It'll be probably close, but I think there's a good chance that we can. I don't know exactly where I want to put this bale at. I guess I'll put it in the initial one, the original one, because I think that's the only one that doesn't really have anything in it. The other one has stuff in it, but it's not tons of stuff, but it has stuff in it nonetheless. Yeah, we have a full bale, gang. We have a full bale, and the pre-chamber's happening. You all correctly pointed that out. The pre-chamber is really for while it processes the unload. Look at that. I'm not sure how I'm going to get that out of here, though. Maybe I should have left it in there. Hopefully it's liftable. I really didn't pay attention to it. I'm assuming it would be with this Fast Farm Edition one, even though we're not utilizing any of the unrealistic aspects of it. We can get up here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get over there and see if I can even lift it up by hand. If not, I might have to figure out some way to pick up a cotton bale. I'm assuming there's some kind of machinery, which realistically, that's probably the way we should go about it anyway. But I'm sure there's some kind of machinery, cotton transport, yeah. Yeah, one of these. They're expensive, though. We don't have enough money for all this. They're very, very expensive. Well, I'm hoping I can lift them by hand. Let's pop out and see. Oh, yeah. All right, we're good. We're golden. Very unrealistic, but we're golden. We can pick that up by hand, and I'd rather just do that. That's just going to be so much easier for me. Maybe eventually, once we have some extra money, then we'll buy the legitimate way to pick them up, right? But as I said early on, there's going to be some things I'm going to do since I'm on console to make my life a little bit easier, because I do not have any kind of super strength of any sort, right? So the only super strength I have really is liftable bales and pallets. That's the only thing I have, and not everything is compatible with that. Like, obviously, our crickets, which, speaking of those are going to be going away very soon as well. Whenever we start doing this upgrade to the greenhouses, those crickets are going to go away. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in place of the crickets there. Maybe a greenhouse goes there. I don't know, but they will be going away as soon as we start embarking on a massive greenhouse overhaul, addition. I don't know, whichever way you want to word it. Regardless, those crickets will be going away then. Bittersweet, but you know, we don't really need them. When we start doing that, we don't really need them. All right, I'm gonna have to do another pass here. I thought I would be able to get all of this without having to do another pass, but there's no way. I'm gonna have to do another pass. So I've got a lot of comments to reply to. I apologize for that. I haven't had the time, unfortunately. Most of the time I've had has been spent trying to get some videos done, so I apologize. I will get to those, though, this weekend. I'm sure it'll probably be Sunday, though, before I get to them. And I say this weekend. When you're watching this, it's a Monday. But hopefully, by the time this is released, I've been able to get through all or most of them. All right, how do I forget how I did this now. I got to go back in here. I forget how I unloaded an unfull bale or whatever. How do we do this? How did we do this last time? There we go. On the okay, automatic drop. I just had to turn off the automatic drop. That's what it was. Okay, got it. All right. Turn that back up, and we can unfold this. Or fold it, I guess. Fold it, I guess, in this instance. Still need to figure out something to do with this, though. We really don't have anywhere to put this in storage, and ideally I'd like to get this under some storage. But for now, it's just going to have to stay where it is. Alright, so... yeah, we'll just use this. This trailer's fine. Don't really need that red trailer anymore that we kind of modified. I think we're just going to modify it to be a normal trailer versus an auto-loaded bale trailer. I don't think we really need that. Well, maybe. You know what? Now that I say that, I think the reason why I was holding on to it is potentially I could utilize it for these bales. So you know what? You bear with me for a minute. We're going to do a little bit of a roundabout here, a little circle here, and we're going to go drop this back off. I'm going to hook into that and see if it'll actually auto-load those bales. That's the reason why I did that, wasn't it? That's it. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a couple days, gang, so I apologize. Just kind of brain fart a little bit. It happens, man. It happens. Lots on my mind, so it happens. All right, let's see if this works or not. I'm going to turn this back on. All right, operating position. Perfect. Let's see if this works. Does it put them up there? It does. Wow, I think it should only be able to do one, but it does work. I'm just going to see what happens if I go by a second one. I don't think it's going to do anything, but... Nope. Okay, so it's just one at a time. But you know what? That's pretty sweet, though. It works. For the time being, this will be fine. Eventually, we can obviously make an upgrade if we need to. All right, we can turn that back on. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. That's really, really good. I guess I could have put that other one in the other Grandma's knitwear. Probably would have been better aligned if I did that, but... Oh well. Too late now. Lots of eggs over there. Look at all those eggs we got over there. That's going to be a good payday, too. All right, perfect. I'm just going to use this trailer right now, and we're going to pick up the wool over here really quick since we're over here. And then I'm going to get a worker on plowing up this field, actually. And we're going to get started on buying another plot of land and getting the sawmill and all that stuff going. So let's get the wool over here first and foremost, and then we'll kind of we'll go that approach. We'll get the worker set on doing this. Might have the worker do most of it for a little while here because we want to get this, you know, the sawmill underway, and it's going to take me a little bit of time to get all of that set up, buy the land, put down the sawmill kind of in a location that makes sense, I think. Some of that money also that I didn't really mention this, but I mean it's pretty obvious, right? Some of that money we're going to be utilizing that when we sell all these clothes and everything, we're going to be utilizing to build the track, the bridge, extension of the land, whatever. You know, over to the island, right? We've got to figure out a way to get over there. There is a way to get over there, but it costs a lot of money. At least the way that I'm planning on doing it, it's not going to be a cheap endeavor by any means. All right, so the wool's in there. All of this is set up, so let's put the worker on, getting the plowing going here. I'll use the John Deere for it. Now, we're going to be putting oilseed radish back in the ground there, so, you know, what I said earlier was actually a little bit incorrect. I kind of misspoke there a bit. oilseed rash for the first, obviously, application of fertilizer, and then we'll kind of, you know, put the cotton in after that. But still, you get the point. You know, it shouldn't take us that long to do all of that. I'm going to have to flip it around. I'm probably going to need a different tractor. It's probably not going to let me do it. I just now thought about this. It's going to say there's not enough horsepower. Shoot. Shoot. I'm probably going to have to do that myself then. Dang. Well, I mean, I guess to be fair, it doesn't take that long to do, you know, the plowing when we have it backwards, right? Because we go pretty quick speed, right? So it's not terrible, but I'm going to see what happens if I do put a worker on it, attached the proper way here, and see if the worker loses his mind or if it's fine. If it's fine, I'm just going to let it go. Let it happen. All right, seems like it's going to work, so we'll let it happen. All right, so we have $61,000. Again, not tons of money, but it is enough to buy this plot of land. Let's just go visit it and make sure this is the one we want. So there's a lot of flat area out here. So it's pretty nice, actually. And then there's some trees here as well. So I mean, half the plot of land there is full of trees, right? We're going to need more than that, of course, but it is there. Now, to be fair, when we do this, what's it? Every tree we have to get rid of. Every tree we knock down, we have to plant 4. Is that what it is? Hold on. Okay, so I was wrong. It's 5 saplings, and so the way that it reads to me, and I guess I need to ask Crustu directly, but the way it reads to me is it says saplings. So if that's really the case here, I'm not quite sure that even planting these trees are actually going to be justified, right? Saplings to me means I need to plant the little tiny trees with the planter versus just placing down trees, because this is not a sapling, right? This is a tree. Is it a full-grown tree? No, but it's a tree, right? And there are full-grown trees, of course, but, you know, maybe you could argue that as a sapling, but I still don't think that's a sapling either, right? Saplings are these little tiny baby things, right? So, I'm not quite sure this is going to pass. I don't think this is what he meant. So, all of you had a great idea with that. I'm just not quite sure that is the way that we were supposed to go about doing it. Anyway, so what we're looking at here is it's a decent amount of trees, right? So, it's not a crazy amount, but it's a decent amount. And it at least will get us started here, right? It'll at least get us started, which is a good thing for us. And, yeah, we can kind of play it by ear from there. So, yeah, I think field 66 or plot 66, however you want to look at it, is where we're going to start. It's very close to our island over there, which is great for us. And we can kind of start, you know, putting down a sawmill down here and then dragging the trees with the winch we purchased a while ago into the sawmill and get started. Now, as far as... Hold on a second here, gang. As far as which one specifically I'm going to go with, I've mentioned this a couple of times, right? My initial plan was to do this one. However, this one needs castle stone. Castle stone is going to increase the length of the series, and it's already going to be super long as it is, substantially. So, as much as I would like to do this one, I'm going to save this for another series in the future. So we're going to pass on doing any of the Highlands ones that require the castle stone. So that basically means we're down to this house, this house, this house, this house, or the log cabin. We've done the log cabin in the past already. We did it in the survival challenge I did right at the beginning when the game first came out, really. We figured out a way to do a bit of a survival challenge. And... yeah, we did it then. So I don't really want to do the same thing here because I've only done this constructible and I've done this constructible. We did this on the one-tile challenge, right? So really, for me, the choices are this one, which I don't really love it, but I don't hate it either. So maybe that one. This one, which I think is kind of the one I'm leaning towards. I don't really love the white... stucco type of walls or whatever you want to call it, masonry, I guess. They're just masonry of some sort, white masonry. And then this one, I really don't like the silo effect here. It's fine, but I don't think, when I look at this, this doesn't look like a dream home to me on an island, right? So for me, it's either this one or it's this one. And I'm not quite sure which one I want to do. I'm kind of leaning towards this one, and the reason why I'm leaning towards this one, even though it's not my favorite, is because I think it lines up well with, you know, what my initial thought was, my initial approach was, which was to kind of have it up against the edge of the trees here and then overlooking the water. And I feel like this is as good as you're going to get for that approach, because it's got, you know, a bit of a walkout here, so you could still, if I angle it the right way, you can still see out that way. And then it obviously has, you know, the little porch, whatever you want to call it, up here, which is like prime real estate to go and overlook the ocean or the lake or whatever this is, right? So, yeah, I think this is the one I'm going to go with. Now, we don't own this land over here. We own the land over here. Over here, you can see it's not as flat as I would like it to be. So I think, really, we need to buy this land before we can actually even place this down, because I'm thinking I'm going to put it somewhere in this range here. Something like that, probably. So we don't own that land yet. Can we buy that land? Yeah, we probably can. As a matter of fact, we can. But the problem is, you know, if we do that, we're not going to be able to buy 66, and we're not going to be able to put down a sawmill. And that's really the place that I want to go with. So we're going to do that. We're going to buy 66, so let's go ahead and buy it right now. And then we're going to put down a sawmill. Now, the sawmill we're going to put down is one that, to be fair, you know, I preach a lot that I like to use different stuff, but we're not going to do that here in this instance. I'm going to make my life easier for me, because this is going to be a long process to get this up and running. So we're going to use a sawmill that we're very, very comfortable using. We're going to use this one, because it is a very, very, we're very used to it, I guess is how I will put it. We're very, very used to this one. I'm going to face it this way so I can drag them into here pretty easily. Perfect. And then we can pick the pallets up here and move on from here. Now, I did, thanks to a lot of you, more specifically Agrarian Builder, who is a member on the channel, thank you once again for your support, called it out. I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but I'm going to call it out again, that there is an auto load that has been added for console. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't used it yet. I think I mentioned that in the last episode as well. But it is something that can be done. And we're going to plan to do that as we move forward here. Obviously, not yet. But we are going to do that. And the way that it works, my understanding at least, is that it's like a grate-like system. You place the grate where the pallets are supposed to spawn. It goes into the grate, and then you can come in with a trailer that's compatible, at least, and you can use it as an auto load, and it'll auto load those onto it for you, which is fantastic, right? That's going to help me out tremendously. Also, it is storming here. I don't know if you just heard that or not, but I have headphones on, full headphones on, not just like ear pods or anything like that, like full noise canceling earphones, and I just heard that lightning and thunder right there. So if you heard that, I apologize. There's not much I can do about it, you know, but that was super loud. That was super loud. So I'm sure you did. So anyway, that's what that was. So we're going to head on over here, and we're going to get started right off the bat here with, you know, getting these trees down, getting it into the sawmill, getting it going. And, yeah, I'll meet you over there. All right, so, you know, the rules really state for knocking down these trees is, like I said, you have to plant 5 saplings. And so I think I'm going to try to go the legitimate way, at least for a while. Maybe later on, once we're chopping down tons, if we chop down tons, then maybe I change that up. But at least initially, I am going to go the approach of doing planting the actual saplings. We are allowed to lease, right? I haven't leased anything in forever, so I probably will just lease the sapling planter there and kind of do that from at the end of the year here. Now, to be fair, whatever I knock down right now, it's 5 per tree I knock down, and they have to be planted by the end of this year. So December, I've got to plant all these, right? So I need to keep track of all this. So, you know, what I'm planning to do here, I need to buy a chainsaw first and foremost. What I'm planning to do here is chop them down, but leave them kind of there. In other words, what I mean by that is I'm not going to remove the stumps. Now, to be fair, I don't have any way to remove the stumps right now anyway, but, you know, I just wanted to make sure that it's known that my plan is to not remove any of the stumps, because it's going to be another cost that we really can't afford right now. So the stumps will be there, and that'll kind of be just as a justification to make sure that I'm not screwing up and that I'm not, you know, doing any kind of cheating or anything like that, and that I'm actually planting enough of the saplings that I'm supposed to, right? So I'll keep track of it, of course. Have to make notes of this, right, of how many we chop down, so that way we know how many saplings we need to plant, but having the stumps here will be a nice justification of that. Now, this is a big tree. This is a big tree. I'm hoping that would just land in there and it would accept it all, but I think we might have missed it just by a little bit. Just by a hair. Let's do this. Let's turn this back on. Yeah, this is where they spawn, so yeah, I have it in the right spot. I just need to push it a little bit further. And, well, maybe I just need to turn it on. I don't even remember. Okay, so, hold on a second. So for this project, we need 5,000 wood beams. So let's turn that on. We need 15,000 long planks, and we need 5,000 planks. We'll turn all three of them on, as a matter of fact. Now, there are other things we need that are not in this sawmill, but these are the beginnings, right? So this is going to get us started. 8,000 cement bags. We've got plenty of stones. I'm not too concerned about getting that done. 8,000 prefab walls. We don't have that production currently. We will get it later on. 2,000 roof plates, and then 6,000 furniture, right? So we've got a lot to do, but the main first objective really is to get the wood beams, the long planks, and the planks, because those are the first things we need, foundation type of stuff, right? So it should be, I think those are the first ones that pop up, but even if it's not, I mean, we know how many we need, so if I can get it at least started right now, like, I feel like that's a win for us, right? Yeah, literally, it was just a few smidges further, and it accepted it. So it should have accepted the whole thing. Yeah, 8,000 liters of wood there, and they should be underway. They are. There you go. You can see it clearly. We are starting to make wood beams, planks, and planks long, which is awesome. Now, I would assume the worker has finished the job, or very nearly finished the job, so we're going to take a peek at that here in just a second, and I'm going to put the worker on starting to do the drilling, if they have finished it. Look at that. I love that. The problem is it's only going to work so many times, and then we're going to actually have to start utilizing the winch to pull them, but we can at least get some of that going, right? Did the worker finish? They did. Let's just drive around here and make sure that nothing was missed. I doubt it was. That looks pretty good. All right, so we'll get the oilseed radish in there. Once we get the oilseed radish in there, maybe next month we'll have enough slurry to at least put some of it down on this field, which I think is going to help. I don't think we'll get the whole field done, but if we can get some of that field with some slurry on it, that field will have some of it being 100% fertilized, which is going to be awesome, right? That'll be great for the cotton. It's way bigger yield than we are used to there, so that'll be super helpful for us. So let's put the worker on here, getting the oilseed radish in the ground. I don't know how many seeds and stuff we have. I hope we have enough. If we don't, then I guess we're gonna make a trip down to the shop there, and we can sell the little cotton balers while we're at it. Get a couple $100 back. There is plenty in there for oilseed radish. It does not take much. All right. Worker's going, and we need back into here. Perfect. All right. I think at this point we're probably going to have to start pulling them with the winch, but we'll get a few more of these ones that are kind of close where it's real easy to get them over there. So far, with this one, we now have to plant 15 saplings at this point. And it's going to be 20 here in a minute. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't think tree work is the most exciting thing to watch in the world. I'm fully aware of that. But, you know, this is part of the challenge, so I am going to show some of it, but there will probably be periods of time here where, you know, you don't get to see some of it. I'm just going to be doing some of it off camera or whatever it may be, right? All right, we can turn this off, I think. After the quick autosave, of course, always at the worst time. Don't think I need those on anymore. Don't think I need that on either. I've used the winch approach so many times that if I don't remember how to do this, then we've got a big problem. And now that I say that, I'll probably have an issue with it. You know me. I always figure out a way to make things more difficult than they need to be. All right, so I think 20 saplings. I'm going to start getting... I'm going to go for some of the larger trees. And when I say the larger trees, I'm talking about these big behemoths here. This guy here and this guy in here, right? We're definitely going to get all of these, but we're going to go for the bigger ones now, just to try to, you know... I mean, if the bigger ones are going to produce more for us, right? So if I'm able to get those into there and we get most of what we need from the bigger ones, that's, you know, less trees that I have to chop down. It's less trees that I have to reseed, right? This guy's a behemoth. A behemoth. If we are going to be doing any kind of the tree work here, I would say 9 times out of 10, I can't say it's always going to be that way, but 9 times out of 10, I will not be doing a time lapse for this. I think it is a bit nauseating. That's my personal opinion. Whether you think that or not, I mean, it's fine, but for me, I'm not quite sure it's worth the effort to put into the editing to make it into a time lapse when you may not want to watch it anyway, right? All right, so that's 6 trees so far that we've chopped down, right? Whoop. Okay, really? Too heavy. Okay. Well, maybe that's the reason why it was not letting me do it beforehand. But it kept popping up the flashlight. I was hitting the exact button I was supposed to hit, but it kept popping up the flashlight, which is supposed to be a different button. I don't know what was going on there, but whatever. We'll chop it down. That's fine. Manchurian red pine. Those things are beasts. Beasts. 24.6 meter length. 2.6... Well, it was more than that, but... Those are heavy duty ones, man. I'm telling you. Okay, here we go again. All right, let's try to reset it. Here we go. All right, are we gonna be working right? Yes, we are. Okay. All right. I don't know. Now, I will ask Krusty about the whole sapling thing. I still think, regardless if he says no, you can use a normal, you can just, you know, go into the menu and plant a tree down or not. I still think, at least initially here, I am going to continue with that approach that I said of you know, actually sapling planting them myself. I don't know. It feels cheaty to use that in the construction menu, understanding that it makes my life easier and it's faster and you know, we get stuff done quicker. Totally get that, and I'm 100% on board for that, but it just doesn't feel right to me. It feels like I'm making the challenge is already difficult, and I get that, but I feel like I'm making it making it feel like easier than it really needs to be, I guess. right? Now, there are quite a few other big ones in here that we can still get, right? But I wanted to at least get it started and just see what we get out of what we're getting in here. So we'll take this one in here, and we'll see how much is in there. Obviously, it's chewed through some of it already, but we'll see what's in there as far as the wood goes. All right, so let's see. What do we got? What do we got in there? 35,000 liters of wood is a lot of wood, right? I think there's a chance that we might not need as much as we anticipated from the wood perspective. But we'll see. I could be wrong. We'll see. So I'm going to leave the John Deere here. We're going to kind of be utilizing only one tractor, I think, over here on this side as we move forward here. Because I just don't think there is enough justification, really, for me to bring the John Deere all the way back here, because we're going to be doing a lot over there. Soon enough, we probably will have to bring either get a third tractor or bring the John Deere back, but for the time being, I'm not too concerned about that. So let's keep pulling some trees into here. I just wanted to see how the worker was doing. I was hoping the worker was close to being done, but they've got a ways to go still. We'll probably take over for the worker here soon, but I want to get them a little bit further along before I do, and I want to get a few more trees down. Alright, so 7 trees. So 35 saplings at current. Now, speaking of planting the saplings, I'm not sure what sapling I want to plant. There's a lot of options to choose from. I'm just not quite sure which one we should choose from. So 8 trees. Now we're at 40 saplings. If I can push this guy. It's going to be pretty heavy, so I might not be able to do it with the John Deere. I might need a more powerful tractor to do this, but fortunately the money's not there to try to do that yet. Like I said, that Massey Ferguson that's out there in the used market would be wonderful to have. It would absolutely be fantastic. Alright, we're turning. Yeah, this isn't going to work. I don't think it's going to allow me to attach this either. Oh, it did. I thought it was going to be too large and say that this is too heavy. Because the winch we do have, to be fair, is the lower of the winches. There is another winch that can hold a little bit more. When I say hold, I mean pull a little bit more. I always forget we're getting wood chips out of this too, which is great because we can sell those wood chips here coming up. That's going to be huge, right? That's going to be huge for us. All right, this guy leaned up against another tree here, so the odds are we're going to need to move both of those. So I'm going to chop this guy down too. So now we're going to be at 9 trees, so 45 saplings. And you guys got to keep me honest too. Like in case I forget for some reason, like I said, I'm going to write it down after the end of this episode. But in case I stumble and forget, I'm going to need you guys to keep me honest. Okay. You know what? We might as well just make it an even 50, right? Let's make it an even 50. That's easy to remember, too. I might not even have to write that down. 50 saplings right now. That's a lot of saplings. That's a lot of saplings. hook both of these together, because I know these two should be able to, we should be able to attach both of them. The other ones, like I said, they were just too large. There was no way. I mean, some of those you saw, they wouldn't even let us pull it as it was. We had to chop them in half because they were so large. But these shouldn't be a problem. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so that is done. How much is in here now? 59,000 liters of wood. That is a lot of wood, gang. That's a lot of wood. Yeah, that's good. The nice thing is we're going to get some wood chips out of that, too. Now, I think the wood chips, I think I'm going to have to put them in a trailer and then bring them over to the palletizer, turn them into pallets, and then kind of go from there. I'm almost positive I'm going to have to do that. You know, and that's fine, but... This won't take long. Let's get the rest of this done. Alright, gang, that is all done, and so are we for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like and the subscribe button for me, on the case you've yet to do either one. It is free. It helps me out more than you can possibly imagine. Easiest way, by far, the best way to help me and the channel out and get this video out to more people. Thanks to my members for all of their continued support. It really does mean a lot to me, the continued support that you guys all show. There is a link down below if you want early access to videos like this one. Maybe consider becoming a member. That's one of the perks you get, among numerous other things. Check out the second channel, check out the shop, check out the Discord. All the links, as always, it's down below for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support, as always, and we'll see you next time.